Okay, they said there's a protest at noon to save Officers Square. It's 5 after 12. Why would they have a protest to save Officers Square? It's too late. They must be smoking some cheap marijuana at the, what do you call it? Canada's NB. Oh, they gotta show some ID. So, I expect, what, 10 people here? Why would people be there? I don't get it. And I'm in a bad mood. I'm in a bad mood for, I got no time for snobs. I'm not saying these people are snobs. Well, I guess there's some people there. I say 10. Uh-oh. More than 10. So I wonder how many politicians. Well, let's see. That David Coon that just went by me. I'll keep this on for 10 minutes. We'll see what they say. What kind of cheap marijuana are you people smoking? Save Officers Square, isn't it too late?
I don't know. It's never too late.
It's never too late?
We still have some trees left.
Oh, is there? As long as we first got to get rid of that idiot mayor.
You know where we were last week? We were down in Acadia National Park.
Oh.
Hi, Charles.
What kind of cheap marijuana are we? Sorry, Bert. What kind of cheap marijuana are we smoking? Is it too late to save Officers Square?
Is it too late to save Officer Square? No, there's lots of heritage wall. There's a few mature trees, but I think the city is gunning for those trees because they're going to start ripping up the wall, and in order to do that they have to and then they're going to put in their crazy artificial skating rink.
Yeah, right there.
And it's going to cover up the roots, and that, or Beaverbrook is going, and it's just a mess.
Oh, I know. The first mess is to get rid of that idiot mayor. Don't answer that.
The mayor only has a vote in the instance of a tie. Right?
Any politician here? No.
Are you kidding? No.
Where's David Coon?
I don't know if he knows about that.
Where's Matt DeCourcy?
I have a feeling you like this sign.
Politician and diapers must be changed often, yeah, for the same reason.
What do you think of that?
You gotta put a face of that idiot mayor, and...
Pretty much put the whole council up there.
But isn't it too late?
I suspect they made up their minds a long time ago, right?
After the harvest and jazz, they'll start digging, and they'll have a couple of natives here just to say, okay, we checked for native items. Artificate, was that what I'm looking for? Artificate will be looking for natives.
Authentic heritage.
No, natives.
He was telling me on November the 1st.
Oh my God! I just bought the bridges and the tire. Archaeologists.
Oh yeah, and
they'll be looking for native items for 2,000 years ago.
They're gonna find them. They know they're here. They already know they're in the ground.
So how come they went ahead and did what they did? And they just bring the native after.
I guess I have my own theories, but I think it's...
Because they're idiots.
Oh yes, that's right.
Well, short-sighted maybe.
Don't you like these non-editing videos?
Yes. Short-sighted. And probably a few pockets are being lined.
A few pockets.
Personal opinion.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Oh yes, he's smart.
Getting worse and worse.
It's a shame.
Oh, it is.
I'm not against modernization of our city. We need development, just not in our only national historic park.
We got to get rid of that idiot.
Yeah.
And council, the whole council.
The whole lot. Kate,
Yeah. No politicians
done
here.
some positive things, I think, for the park.
Who?
Kate Rogers has done some positive
Kate Rogers, yeah, she stayed in her seat during the protest. She stayed in her seat. Political ambition. Oof, oof. Don't say that. Don't say a word.
Yeah, no.
But we can read between the lines.
Yeah.
Boy, I'm warmed up today. Holy Jesus.
It's good to see you here anyway.
You too. Talk to you later.
So she doesn't take
Yes, I'm glad you spoke.
Pictures of the Cardinals up.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Want to say a word?
Hello, young man. How are you?
What kind of cheap
Is this
marijuana are you
who
smoking?
is this guy here?
What kind of cheap marijuana are you smoking? They already destroyed.
What kind of
Alpha
what?
Cheap marijuana. They already destroyed Alpha
Cheap wine, did you say?
Cheap marijuana. Are
Oh,
you
cheap
smoking?
marijuana. Oh my golly, I just have. I don't get into marijuana.
They already
I have no
destroyed
use for those kinds of things and people that are simple enough to indulge.
Former
in
principal like you now.
No, I was a vice principal.
Come on.
But you don't see any of them.
Come on. What kind of cheap marijuana are you smoking? There's a protest.
Never smoked a thing in my life.
Yeah, right. Blaine Higgs in person. They already destroyed Officer Square, so what are we doing here?
You'll have to pay attention and you'll hear all about
Pay
it.
attention. I have ADHD and I'm wound up.
Let your camera do the recording. Well, I'm going to talk about that in a second. So.
Yeah, okay. Might as well
Hi
grab a seat.
everybody, I'd like to welcome you and thank you so much for coming. My name is Beth Biggs and I'm the spokesperson for Save Officer Square. As you know, it's been a really tragic week here in the square, and we've been fighting this battle since we first found out that the trees were going to be taken down, and this was over a year ago. And actually the city knew even 2 years prior to the public knowing that the trees were going. I think there's some big issues that have to be dealt with by the city. The city promised the public consultation with the detailed drawings. This still has not happened. Why? Why is the city not coming forward? They did all of the consultations prior to the knowledge of the trees coming down and the rest of the heritage being removed from the square. That is not consultation, that is called smoke and mirrors. I think we have to ask the city to stop what they're doing and to give us the proper consultation that we deserve as a democratic society. And it's not only that the Garrison District Plan provided, we promised the consultation. That's standard practice. And also, we have something called the Municipal Act. That act requires heritage to be saved. There is not one morsel of heritage that's going to be saved in this square. That is just not good enough. We can't accept it. I have to tell you, oh thank you, I have to tell you that many might not be aware, but over the last 10 years, there has been 22 trees cut in and around Officer Square. It's unbelievable that the poor and lack of forward vision. This is a time of environmental crisis. Why are they cutting down trees in the center of our city? Destroying a respite for all of us that we've loved and cherished. It's just shameful. I have to say that we've lost these trees, but there's no way that the city can guarantee that the work that they're going to do on that wall will not compromise those tree roots. No way. No one can. They're hoping that they won't harm the roots. The other thing is that when they put the skating rectangle, please note, it is a rectangle, it is not an oval. When they put the skating rectangle down, they had to level the ground. And I have an email here that was sent to the city from Don Murray, who says that as little as 10 centimeters of soil put on top of those roots will kill the trees. If the city doesn't cut them down, they're going to kill them anyway. I would say boo. I have to say that the wall, even though they say it has to go, we have provided documented proof to the city that the wall can be conserved, it can be stabilized, the salt can be removed. There is no need for that wall to come down. There is no need for those trees to have to be removed, and there's no reason to have to kill the rest of the trees. My fear is that if any tree is in the downtown core, is in the way of their plans, they'll just cut it down. So, I have to say, I don't know what else to say. We blocked the city last year with our emails. We have talked to our councillors. I have to say, keep fighting. There's still a ton of heritage here. We can still have things to say, so please, please keep going. And I have to say that a 10,000 signature petition wasn't enough, City of Fredericton. The consultation at the Delta wasn't enough, City of Fredericton. I went around the last 2 days and gave every single, or not every single, the majority of businesses on the downtown street level a notice of this rally. Every single one of them took them and put them in their stores. What are they thinking? So everyone, I'd like to now say again, thanks for coming. And now we're going to have someone, Jason is going to come up and talk about the specifics of the heritage here. Thank you.
Well, it's a fantastic show, guys. Thanks for showing up. I need to speak kind of briefly about the heritage. Some of this we should already know. It's been talked about quite a bit in the media over the last little while. I know I certainly have been going on and on about it, but it's worth mentioning over and over again. One thing I think is really important to acknowledge is that this is a recognized historic site 4 times over. It's a National Historic Site as the military compound. It's a National Historic Site as the Woollistook Historic Site on the banks of the Woollistook. It's a protected provincial heritage place times 2, both as the military compound and also Officer Square specifically. And honestly, I can't think of another site in all of New Brunswick that has been designated 4 times. So that alone should give you some indication as to the significance of this piece of ground. And that doesn't include what ought to really be a 5th designation by the city, who have failed to yet designate this as an important historical site under their preservation bylaw. Now, something very obvious, I think, characteristics that are important to the square is obviously the wall, and that's going to be the first on the chopping block. It's considered, along with the fence, as a character-defining element that both the federal government and the provincial government say needs to be conserved. We've lost the fence to some degree already, and the wall is scheduled to go as soon as the Harvest Jazz and Blues is gone. But not only is that historic wall going to go, you've got at least 2 meters on either side of it, and then the depth going under along the entire length of Queen Street and a bit of St. Anne's Point Drive. That contains the archaeology, the significant archaeology associated with this square that is likely associated with the Acadian settlement that is a part of St. Anne's Point, and also quite likely as much as 8,000 years of Indigenous heritage that is probably in the grounds of Officer Square. So just the wall alone, you'll see the loss of over 200 square meters of archaeology. And then we've also got the historic foundations at the south of the officers' quarters. And those foundations were put in around 1816 after the original quarters burned down. And they're the oldest remnant portion of the military compound. And they're exposed archaeological remains. Again, really significant to the story and the history of Fredericton. These are the things that when you travel, most other cities, most other communities preserve, they conserve, they share, they brag about as a piece of their history. And it's our history, and it's definitely worth conserving. And finally, I'll just remind that after they get rid of the historic wall, after they get rid of those historic foundations, they're going to move into the ceremonial parade square. This is where soldiers from at least for 3 different wars left this area. The War of 1812, you got the March of the 104th, you've got the Boer War, which is the Royal Canadian Regiment left from here to go over to South Africa, which is Canada's first overseas contribution, and you've got soldiers leaving from here to World War I. Some of the soldiers did not return, And you've got just the British soldiers that came over here to the New World to help Fredericton grow and become the community that it is now. Some of those soldiers died here as well. Some are buried in the old burying ground. And so this really is, as good as it gets in many ways for Fredericton, it's kind of hallowed military ground, as well as, again, the Canadian loyalists and ancestors who may have lived here as well. So let's not forget about the significance of this history. When they move in to create the skating square, they will end up ripping up a huge amount more of this parade square. And when they go to put in that stage over there, as well as all those paving stones, they'll require the excavation of probably about 1 meter down, so they can get a base layer stable enough to put in all the concrete and all those paving stones. So I would argue that a significant portion of what's left in the military compound will soon disappear with this new program. And just one last thing, when you think about this military compound that goes from York Street all the way to Sands Point Drive, north of Queen Street, this is the last little bit of green space we have. Almost all the rest of it's filled in with buildings now. And if there's any place worth saving in the city in terms of its historical value, I'd argue that this hands down has to be it. Thank you.